Hey guys, John here, and I wanted to come on today and try a little something new. New for you guys to see, not new for me. It's stuff I've done many times over my life, and still to this day do for my own growth. Um, when I do one of my private sessions with someone. An hour before the session, I sit down and I write the person's name on a sheet of paper, and I just open up the source and I allow whatever message to come through. And sometimes it makes no sense to me whatsoever. Almost every time it makes no sense to me whatsoever. And then when the person comes on, it makes complete and total sense. And like it'll reference certain things that are very specific to them. Just to give an example, I had one that I was doing where in the middle of the writing, I ended up quoting Robin Williams, and she turned her camera around, and she had a wall of Robin Williams stuff. So it was very apropos. So I was opening the source and bringing a message through very specific for a person. That's what happens when I do my private session. I do that, and then we dive into that conversation about that work, and then I do assessments, and I work through the process with the person that's there, and then we come together and get them moving in a different direction, or get them heading towards their goals or whatever. But the process of sitting down and writing. It's just a matter of opening up to the source, opening up to God, opening up to what they would call the Akashic records or stuff like that, just information. And many times I will sit down and I'll write my name on a sheet of paper, and I'll do that as well. Oftentimes in private sessions, I've had information just pour through me, and I don't even write it, I just say it. That's something I wanted to try today. And I'm not going to try, I'm going to do today. This is something I'm going to do today. I'm going to just open up the source, because I'm looking at our world right now, and I'm looking at the humanity and what's going on with Ukraine and our politics, and the world seems like it's a very crazy place right now. And I want to ask God, source, consciousness, yada yada. I want to ask, what's the big picture? What's the big picture of everything that's going on in the world right now? Where's this headed? Where are we going? And that's the question that I have for the universe today. And I'm just going to open up and see what comes through. And I can guarantee you, if nothing comes through, this video won't see the light of day. But if something comes through, it'll see the light of day. So I'm going to go ahead and take a second to catch my. I'm going to take a second to sit in love, and then I'm going to focus on that question. I'm actually going to write the question down on a sheet of paper just because I have it here. The question is, with all this going on, what is the big picture for humanity? With all that's going on, what is the big picture for humanity? The grand scales of balance. Balance is being achieved. Balance. Not a balance of one and the other must coexist, but a balance of, it has been very much a fear-based world, and now that world is becoming more loving, more caring, more unified as one. And as this love and this balance starts to come together, those that are out of balance and mentally fearful are erupting because they feel unstable, they feel unbalanced, they feel as if the balance itself is gone. They feel that they need to grasp for balance because they control their own balance, the balance of it all. And once they grab that balance for themselves, then what happens is they end up overarching and making the world more fearful and doing things that are harmful to others, which makes the world more fearful. What they don't realize is that when they do this, that action itself creates a whole new environment of unification and love, because people stand against the out of balance dictatorships and out of balance fear-based manipulations that come forward from the people that are out of balance from love. And that loving balance is the place where we end up finding that oneness with Source, that oneness with God, that place of living a loving life, as John would say. Then what happens is as that balance is been thrown out of balance by those who are out of balance, that what happens is that rise in the other direction brings it back into play, brings it back into that equilibrium of love. And the more the people threaten with the large assaults, as this Putin does with the nuclear weapons and throwing out those big fear-based things, an even bigger love reaction happens, a bigger loving, more unified reaction happens, because it's the natural course of how things work in the world. Humanity is based around the idea of a loving place, a loving being, a loving existence for all. And that balance of loving existence comes together as a place where you yourself are your authentic selves. You come to that place of loving and joy, and you realize that anything that is contrary to that outcome, anything that is opposite of that loving joy, is not of balance. Your balance is loving fully. In fact, your balance is loving fully and understanding that your fear is not part of your balance. It is actually part of the illusion of being out of balance. The fear is the illusion of being out of balance. And when you get into the illusion and you follow the illusion fully, what happens is you come to a place of not understanding that you are in fear, and that place of being lost. Humanity at this time is raising to a new level of consciousness. It is raising to a space where the world is becoming more loving, more caring. And as it does this, the fear-based obstructions to that realization fall away. Those people who are invested and in profiting by that fear-based obstruction fall away. They get shown in the light, and when they get shown in the light, they get fear-based even more so. Their fear encompasses them. Whereas before they were inflicting fear, now they are fearful. And as they become more and more fearful, what happens is they lash out, they get loud, they scream, they holler, they yell. And when they start to scream, holler, and yell and lash out, what happens is they very quickly turn back inward and say, I have to now find a way to make myself feel powerful again. And once they start doing that, they show themselves even more, and more people unify against, and more people end up loving more people end up unifying more. Heroes are shown in this moment. What is a hero? A hero is someone who stands for their authentic self and their authentic loving belief, and cast fear aside in the process and keep moving forward towards that loving, joyful life. Once that loving, joyful life becomes unified and in balance, what happens is the entire world becomes equalized. Everything comes together as one. And when everything comes together as one, you have reached a new level of consciousness. The universe, God, consciousness, all comes together as one unity. And all of you become aware of that oneness, and all of you become in higher vibration with that oneness. And once you come to that oneness, that one space of joyful loving, you find that fear has always been the illusion. And those who are lost in their illusion are truly in madness. They are lost in that fear-based illusion, whether that's fear in being inflicted from them or fear being inflicted on them. They are lost in an illusion. They are lost in the wilderness of their own mind, their own losses, their own diminished self in this fear reaction that they live through and live from and inflict upon others. But they are invested in fear. The balance of fear versus love is not a true balance. Balance is love. Fear is an illusion. We take this illusion, we cast it aside, and we come to a space of joyful loving. Once we come to that space of joyful loving, then humanity comes together as one. And now is that time. Now is the time where the humanity is raising to a level of consciousness with the oneness without any need or consciousness against the idea of that loving space, because that loving space is truly yourself. It is you yourself. It is you and God as one. It is you and all as one. It is you and your neighbor as one. It is you and your partners as one. It is you. Love is never wrong, and fear always is. And when you take that love and you encompass it in yourself and cast it out to others, and you create a world so loving and bright around yourself, then it grows and it creates another loving world around someone else, and it grows and grows, and humanity's vibration raises up to the next level of consciousness, which is exactly where you are headed. You are headed to this new Christed self, this new Christed consciousness. And I use the word Christed because Christ means anointed one, means I'm anointing myself with this new vibration. I'm moving into this new space, this place of loving vibration, and we are creating a world of loving vibration. And once that level of consciousness raises, everything changes. And those who are most fearful will fall away will not come with you, because those people will fall into their fear and their anxiety. They are the casualties of their fear. They are the casualties of their of not loving. And when they go down that route and they are shown for who they are, then they get diminished and they fall away. Some will turn to love. Some will see their error of ways and turn to love. Most will not. Most will stay in their fear-based space, and they will relive their lives in a fear-based way. But humanity as a whole is raising to another level of consciousness, and once it raises to that consciousness, the world's changing. Take heart, because here and now, the world is becoming more loving. The world is becoming more caring. The world is becoming more unified. And the things that seem so daunting and scary at this time are only the growing pains of love, the growing pains of a changing world to a more loving world. And you are blessed to be here to witness this change, to witness these growing pains, to witness the world shifting into a new loving space, a space where you all get to relax and breathe and enjoy. So take heart, my friends. You are indeed living in that time. You are indeed coming to a more loving world, and you yourself are part of that process. To even listen to these words means that you are opening to that process, you are looking into these words, and you're hearing the loving self coming forward. You are hearing the loving neighbor come forward. You're hearing the loving God come forward and surround your experience. And when it surrounds your experience, your world changes. And I think that's all that I'm getting today. So that was the message that came through. I hope it's something that you felt you needed to hear. If you'd like me to do more of these sort of messages like that, let me know, and I will open myself up to do more of that. But the idea of this is that you need to step into a place of relaxation and love, because that's where we're headed. So you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.